What's up guys? In today's video we're talking about how we can go about getting stronger and breaking through any plateaus which you may currently be in. This is a common question. I get asked it a lot, particularly recently with the launch of my physique transformation course. That question keeps coming up again and again, and people want to know, Mike, how do I go about getting stronger? I'm stuck at this weight and I can't seem to improve no matter what I do. So let's talk about a couple of things, right? First of all, I'm going to talk about dumbbells versus barbells, right? So usually when it comes to trying to improve the weights you're lifting when using a barbell, it's actually quite manageable because you could just put a little plate on either side. Let's say, for example, a 1.25 kilogram plate. You've overall increased the weight by 2.5 kilos, and if you've done that on a compound movement, you shouldn't really notice the difference too much. It should be manageable, right? The issue tends to be more so when it comes to dumbbells, right? So if you're doing a compound movement using dumbbells, it's a little bit more difficult because when you're lifting a heavier weight, once you reach that stage, the increments, so basically the step up from one weight to a heavier weight is quite a bit. So I'm going to bring out the trusty board of knowledge. It's been a while, but I'm going to show you what I would typically do when trying to break through a plateau and lift heavier. In this situation, we're going to be using dumbbells. The exercise of choice is going to be the flat dumbbell press. So 3 sets, let's typically say we're doing 3 sets, okay? The plateau, which I'm stuck on, is 30 kilograms, 10 reps, okay? I can't seem to lift heavier. The annoying thing with dumbbells is once you're getting to a heavier weight, to increase the weight, or the increments at which you increase the weight is quite a lot. So typically, in English gyms, if you wanted to go up from 30 kilos, it would either be 32 kilos or 32.5. And trying to do 32 or 32.5s for 10 reps, straight off the bat, it's going to be tough, okay? You might be able to do it, but for most people, you won't be able to take that leap and step up to that level. So what I would typically do, I'm going to spread that increase or improvement in weight over a 4-week period. So for the first week, what I would do is I'd stick to the 30 kilos and I'll do 10 reps. Now for the second set and for the third set, I'm going to step forward and do the 32.5s, but I'm going to reduce the rep range for the second and third set. Week 2, okay? Now I'm going to do 32.5 kilos for 8 reps over 3 sets, right? That's improvement, right? Overall, we're improving, we're lifting heavier. Week 3, I'm going to try and step it up again. I might not be able to reach 10 reps, but I'm going to go up to 9 reps. So 32.5 kilos for 9 reps over 3 sets. And then hopefully, when it gets to the 4th week, I should be able to hit 32.5 for 10 reps over 3 sets. And I'll sometimes do this if I go through phases of bulking or, when there's an abundance of calories, I will adjust my training programming so that the first 2 to 3 lifts of any session is really going to be strength focused, particularly on the compound movements. So the other day I think we got up to 140 kilos on the bent over row for 8 reps.
Let's go. 2, 3, 4, 5, come on. 6, come on. 7, last one, if you got to use the body. Oh, what are we doing?
Hey,
You had 1 rep left.
definitely didn't.
Pussy.
Felt like I was going to throw you forward. Next one. 65 kilos. Being pushed up away by Justin. Because I wasn't lifting heavy enough apparently. So, here we go.
One thing which you need to bear in mind is whenever you are trying to focus on building your strength, you do have your good days and your bad days. It's not going to be the case that every single day you wake up you're going to feel amazingly strong, right? You may have had a couple of sessions or a couple of weeks where things have been on the rise, things have been progressing, you get stronger on a weekly basis, but you might just wake up and feel tired, whatever it might be. You might have had a terrible night's sleep, or you might typically be overtrained, whatever it is. If you try to go and train and match what you had previously done or try to increase the weights on many of the lifts which you had done the week before, it might just simply not be happening. So you could either still go to the gym and try and bang out a session, but what I would typically do, if I'm not feeling it, I tend to know when I'm not feeling it or not. I just take the day off and I don't train, or I might go to the gym and do either a lighter session or focus on some cardio. Because usually if I do have a day off, a day of rest, a day of taking it easy, I will usually have a good night's sleep, and the day after that I feel completely different. So sometimes it's just a case where you have to delay your session by 1 day or 2 days, instead of trying to just stick to your schedule and have, you know, a pretty below par session, because it's going to screw with your head a little bit.
That big juicy back. And then he goes and picks up 2 kilo dumbbells.
Come on! I've gone through this before in videos previously, but you need to make sure your sleep is on point. Ideally at least 8 hours every single night. That's going to help achieve this. Hydration, you need to be fully hydrated, alright? Throughout the day. Going back to hydration, how much you drink, it depends on your overall body weight. But for me, typically, I try to aim and hit 4 litres. At the moment, in England, there's a heat wave. It's like 30 degrees Celsius in London, and I am boiling hot, so I'm probably going to be drinking more than that. Calorie intake. If you want to get stronger, you want to improve your strength, and that's the priority, you need to make sure that you're consuming enough calories in the first place to allow you to do that, right? If you're cutting, it's highly unlikely you're going to see improvements in strength and reductions in body fat, right? It doesn't work like that. Choose one over the other. Back to the calorie intake as well, I want to say that what you consume before the workout is also going to have an impact on your performance inside of the gym itself and how much you can lift. So pre-workout nutrition is important. I would probably recommend that you're consuming enough carbohydrates before the session itself. Give yourself at least 1 hour to 2 hours to digest that meal, and if it is going to be a particularly big session, then it might make sense to try and leave that session for later on in the day so you can get 1 or 2, maybe even 3 meals in beforehand. Also, what you eat the night before will have an impact on the session itself, particularly for these people or those people who are going to be training first thing in the morning or earlier on in the day. I would recommend that you have quite a substantial meal the night before, high in carbohydrates, to basically allow all those carbohydrates to be converted into glycogen within the muscle, stored energy, so that your session is going to be as good as it can be, even if you don't have, you know, the time to get many meals in beforehand. Rest and recovery. Okay, so if you really are trying to improve your strength, I probably wouldn't recommend training more than 2 days in a row. So I'd probably have 2 days on, 1 off, 2 on, 1 off. I typically like to do, this is myself, I like to have 3 days on, 1 day off, 3 days on, 1 day off. But on that third day, you might notice that your performance and strength might be, you know, not as good as it could be. So you might actually need to have more frequent rest days, or really just prioritize rest overall, right? And then last one, stress. Goes without saying, don't stress yourself out. Try to be stress-free. If you're stressing out all day, every day, it's going to affect your gym performance. Not only concentration, but strength at the same time. Now, when I'm doing these compound lifts, I will adjust the tempo and I will adjust the rest period. Typically with the tempo, it's much faster, right? It's much more explosive. There's not any slow negatives. There's no holding and squeezing of the contractions. It's very fast in comparison to how I would typically lift anyway. And then when it comes to the rest period, I don't actually time my rest. I will just go when I'm ready to go, right? And because I've been training for 10 years now, I can gauge when I'm ready to go in for that next lift, right? A good way of thinking about it is you should rest long enough so that you can match or improve upon the previous set's intensity, right? There's a few different approaches there which have hopefully helped you out a little bit. I'm going to plug it once again. Since you've watched this video, the Physique Transformation course is live. We have now at least over 120 members of the group. Get yourself involved. I'm going to be there to answer any of your questions on the private Facebook group. You're going to get live seminars with myself, live Q&As, and there's a whole host of benefits associated with it as well. So make sure you check that out on my website. The link is at the top of the description box. Thanks for watching. If you've got any questions, just drop a comment. I'll do my best to get back to you, and I'll see you soon.